All right. I believe we are up and going. So happy Monday, everybody, and welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show. I'm Rob Vining, lead faculty for ICE's Telehealth Division, where we just started our fourth cohort of telehealth building your digital practice. And it's going pretty well. I'm pretty excited. So today's topic on Monday is back to normal, includes a new normal. And we're talking about telehealth 2.0. So when we're discussing this, the easiest thing to always bring up when we now look at where we were, let's say 3 months ago and where we're at now, right? This inflection point has happened in the world of telehealth, especially in our profession, that parallels the same thing as pizza delivery back in the day. So I'm old enough to remember when Pizza Hut was the place where you went and got pizza. So you would drive to Pizza Hut, you would pick up a pizza that you ordered, you'd take it home and you'd eat it there, right? Or you could eat inside the restaurant at Pizza Hut. Then Domino's came around and started offering delivery. And I know that in my neighborhood, at least, everybody lost their mind. It was like the best thing ever. It took over the pizza industry because if you did not provide that delivery service, some people just didn't want to go to a restaurant anymore. Once a customer actually experienced the convenience of having a pizza delivered to them where they didn't have to leave their house, they could call in the order, game over, done. It was just you did delivery or you were looking forward to filing for bankruptcy as a pizza company. So I think the same thing has now happened to PT. Not saying it's quite on that scale, but I will tell you that now we have reimbursement. Now we have a lot of people, like for an example, the growth of the telehealth PT providers Facebook group. We grew from 4,000 members to 12,000 members in under about a month and a half. So a lot of the profession knew that they needed it. It was something that they knew was a delivery model. They just weren't sure, number one, how to do it, and number two, if the public wanted it. And those are two things that we have seen basically answered right in front of our eyes. Number one, it's not that difficult to get started. And number two, the public really enjoys it. And when I say the public enjoys this, I'm talking about getting messages daily now from clinicians that are saying, I have a whole section of patients that have said they don't necessarily want to come into the clinic. They're not scared of COVID. They're not worried about getting sick. They just like the convenience of telehealth. And I think that's going to be something that puts telehealth on the map in the physical therapy industry, and it's not going away. So that kind of brings up the thing that I'm seeing as well is in this fourth cohort that we just started, a lot of the welcome videos and people talking about why they're in the course. It's now changed from I want to learn how to do telehealth into these professionals saying, I want to get really good at telehealth because my patients love it. I like the delivery method and it's another revenue source. Insurance is now reimbursing for this. How do I do this better? And I think that is an excellent way to look at this instead of seeing this as telehealth kind of being a bridge to kind of gap the start of COVID towards the end of that. Hopefully sooner versus later when clinics start opening up again. It doesn't need to just be something that was a blip on the radar and goes away. And I don't think it's going to be. Like I said, patients are now requesting, even though they don't have any issues with coming into the clinic, it's more convenient for them and they like it. The results are there. That's the big thing that you'll always find. When you provide a delivery method to a consumer that is different than they're used to, but it provides convenience and results, you're going to find that that consumer just completely starts asking for it all the time. And they're going to expect that level. So don't be surprised when you're opening your doors back up when you see more and more patients request telehealth visits. Maybe it's just half their plan of care. Maybe it's all of their plan of care. But do not reject that offer from your patients because they just want what's convenient and what works for them. Okay. The other thing with telehealth 2.0, which I think we're going to see more and more of that this year, especially I would say second half of the summer. A lot of PTs are going to realize my patients want this. I need to be better at this. Because when you have a comparison now between those clinicians that just are checking the boxes and they're doing telehealth just to do telehealth, and they're basically pulling up a video, having a live conversation with their patient, they're making their patient do their home exercises, they're just running through reps and sets, and then they're done. That's not really going to be of benefit, and that's not going to provide the value and help us redefine our profession like we have a chance to do. Now, I know a lot of people who are hardcore manual therapists have gone into this and they're kind of they're a little squeamish about it. They don't know how it's going to work. But I'm telling you, more and more therapists that thought they were not going to be able to provide value to patients, they are seeing a tremendous amount of value and a lot of feedback from patients saying they love it. And you can't argue with a patient who's getting better by a delivery method that you weren't sure about. The proof is in the pudding, and you have to see if a patient's getting better and they're happy and they're very, they just want this now. It's kind of the writing on the wall. So we have to look at that as something that is going to be in our future for a while, and we have to get better at it. So when I'm talking about telehealth 2.0, I'm talking about efficient onboarding. I'm talking about making sure you have all your ducks in a row when you send out a welcome email to a patient who's set up for a telehealth visit. You've got to make sure they know internet connection, not to have anybody else streaming Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, or something like that in the background, so that you don't have a choppy live video connection. You've got to make sure that they've got plenty of space. It's a quiet room. You've got to make sure that they have a decent internet connection and they know how to click all the buttons on the platform that you're using in order to establish that connection. Telehealth 2.0 means that you don't want to spend time doing tech support for those patients that haven't experienced telehealth yet, but have an open mind to this concept. And it just presents an opportunity where you can actually wow a patient and you can help elevate our professional status by providing that massive amount of value conveniently through telehealth. And it just makes our profession look better and better. So if it's something where you're kind of looking at this delivery model or the business model and it creates that discomfort, that's not an opportunity for risk. It's an absolute challenge for growth. And if you look at it that way and you start to implement all of these different practices to make your telehealth side of your business run smoothly and make it to where patients want that, it's only going to grow your business, especially geographically. I mean, for clinics that have been hurting for a while, think of it this way. This is your early Christmas present. You're able to now open up your doors. And for those clinics that are being reimbursed through insurance, you have all the major insurances now reimbursing for telehealth sessions for physical therapy. That means that your geographic limitation of, 60 miles or so around your clinic has now expanded statewide. So if you do this right and you learn the way to market your services through telehealth and you use telehealth as a lead generator, like I've talked about a few episodes before when I was on the PT on Ice Daily Show, talking about marketing and using that as a lead generator. If you implement all this properly, this is going to be something that really increases your patient load. It doesn't have to be something that you fear and that you think is going to degrade the quality of service you provide. It's really on the contrary. It's going to improve the quality of service because you're meeting the patients where they are at. And I would even put down the challenge and say, if you're not doing telehealth, number one, you're probably busy as anything. I know the majority of the time, business owners, they're not lazy. They just have 58,000 things to do. And number two, if you are saying that this is not a thing for your clinic, you're seriously leaving money on the table. And if you close down because of these last couple of months, this is something where it's do or die. You have to just swallow that pill and know that that discomfort is not something that is going to be a risk. It's easy to put in place and it's easy to meet that whole new patient population that is going to be looking for this. I think we just had a massive marketing job done for us in the last 2 months, where telehealth has been one of those buzzwords. If you look on Google Trends, telehealth spiked massively. So that means the majority of the public knew the word and started looking for it. So I used to always say that the number one thing to actually say when you're advertising or talking about physical therapy and doing telehealth would be to say online physical therapy. I'm almost to a point where I think if you told a patient that you do provide telehealth services for physical therapy, they would say, "Oh, okay," and they would understand exactly what you mean, because the media has put out so many different stories about different physical therapists that have talked about and have approached these media companies and news companies saying, "Look, this is what I do. I'd love to get this out to the community." And if you look at every mid and major market, you're going to see news stories that have happened in the last couple of months talking specifically about physical therapists that are providing their services online, right? You cannot, you can't turn around without seeing another one of those. If you just Google that, you'll find dozens of different video clips from news stations talking about that. Okay. The public is aware of it. Now it's time for us to do it better. Okay. You can't just check the boxes. Don't be lazy. This is not a home exercise checker. This is an interaction to actually do an intake, to actually do great evaluations, to do excellent treatments that progress patients towards their goals. If you look at it that way and you learn all the tips and tricks and find all the shortcuts and find all the hurdles and barriers and just get those out of the way, you can create a massive environment where patients really respect you on every single level because you are respecting their time. And that is the number one thing that more and more patients have less and less of. If you look at the majority of the population right now, you've got people that are getting back to work, or they've been furloughed, or they're cut to half time. They're trying to figure out how to make ends meet. They're running around like a chicken with their head cut off. The last thing they want is to have back pain when they're trying to just even go in for an interview for some job that might require them to actually lift things every now and then, right? Make this easy for that patient population. Make it easy for our whole population across the country to get them back to where they need to be in a convenient manner that makes sense. If they have insurance, the majority of the time, insurance covers it. Have everything in place, be ready to go, and we will grow this profession as we advance the rest of this year and beyond. Telehealth is here to stay. It's just time to make Telehealth 2.0 a reality. And I think it's something that's right in front of us and it's ready to grasp. And it's that challenge for growth. Look at it that way and it'll be easy. All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching the PT on Ice Daily Show, and we will catch up with you next time. Take care.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review, and be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.